Your eyes open. For maybe 3 seconds, you are lingering in that other world, some kind of bizarre reality where you were soaring over a city built of cheese or escaping from your childhood teacher who weirdly wore the face of your dentist, and suddenly it vanishes like clicking delete. You reach for your phone, trying to recall the details, but there is nothing left, just a weird emotional echo and a gut feeling that something major went down, though you have zero clue what it was. Craziest part is this happens to you every single night. Today, you and I will answer a mystery that has puzzled humanity for thousands of years. Why can we never remember our dreams? And even more importantly, what is really going on inside your brain during those empty hours? Because, spoiler alert, your mind is not slacking off, it is doing something far more bizarre and deliberate than you realize. Let us start with the basics, because unless we understand exactly how our dreams work, none of the rest is going to make sense. Every night, your rest is split into distinct cycles. Each cycle lasts roughly 90 minutes and contains several phases: light sleep, deep sleep, and finally the phase we want to target, REM sleep. That stands for rapid eye movement, and yes, your eyeballs are literally darting around beneath your eyelids like you are watching a tennis match while totally passed out. It is slightly creepy when you stop to think about it. REM sleep is when those highly vivid, emotionally heavy, and cinematically wild dreams take place. During a full night of slumber, you will hit 4 to 6 REM cycles. The first one lasts only around 10 minutes, but as the night goes on, those phases get longer and longer. By your final cycle, right before waking, you could be in REM for up to an hour. So by the time your morning alarm rings, you have theoretically been dreaming for a really long time. A feature-length film worth of bizarre scenarios. Your brain has been running full Hollywood blockbusters every single night since the day you were born, yet you remember practically none of it. So, what is going on? Let us see where things get interesting and maybe a little terrifying, depending on how you feel about your mind having its own secret agenda. The first thing to understand is that creating memories is not automatic. Just because something actually happens to you does not mean your brain saves it away neatly for later recall. Remembering is an active process that needs specific neurochemical settings to function right, and during REM sleep, those exact conditions are completely switched off. Specifically, we are talking about a chemical called norepinephrine, also known as noradrenaline. During the day, this stuff flows through your head constantly. It keeps you focused, alert, and crucially, the storing of new memories. It helps your brain say, "This is important, keep it." But during deep REM, norepinephrine levels completely flatline. Your brain practically shuts it all down, meaning the saving mechanism for memories, the trigger telling your mind to log what is happening, is entirely offline. Your brain is essentially running a movie with no record option. Why would evolution design it like that? It is a great puzzle, and you and I have some incredible theories to unpack. One of those ideas is that dream sleep is a chance for your brain to sort emotions and daily memories, but to do so, it has to replay them without triggering you again by flooding your sleeping mind with highly emotional situations while keeping the memory-making chemicals completely blocked. Your mind lets you go ahead and feel those raw emotions without actually locking in any new memories. Think of it like a mockfire drill. It happens, you experience it. But you do not need to memorize every little detail, you just need the core lesson to sink in. That is exactly what your sleeping mind is doing every single night. Honestly, it is pretty amazing, but it also raises a question. Who thought this was a good Design because, from a user experience perspective, it is a bit annoying. But wait, there's more. Norepinephrine is not the only chemical working against you here. Let us talk about acetylcholine during REM sleep. This chemical floods your entire brain at incredibly high levels. This transmitter is linked to hallucination-like states, random connections, and that weird, completely non-linear story flow that makes dreams feel like they were written by some writer who never understood cause and effect. High acetylcholine and low norepinephrine mean crazy imagination, blocked memory. Your is in its most creative mode ever while simultaneously being in the absolute worst state for remembering a single thing. If your brain were a real person, they would be the most fascinating, brilliant, creative guest at the party, and also the guest who has no idea how they arrived or what they talked about. It is wild. And there is another twist to this: your hippocampus, the area of your brain most linked with creating new memories, is relatively surprisingly quiet during certain sleep phases. Our prefrontal cortex, which handles logic, self-awareness, and your ability to think, hey, I should probably remember this, is also significantly less active during REM sleep, so we have the memory maker slacking off, our rational brain taking a break, and the creative chaos engine running at full speed. It is the perfect recipe for creating unforgettable experiences that are instantly forgotten. Now, here is the fun part: you and I get to explore what actually makes the difference between people who easily remember their dreams and those who wake up to a total blank. Because you have met these folks, maybe you are one of them, the ones who wake up and instantly launch into a 15-minute play-by-play breakdown of their dream, complete with character arcs and emotional subtext, plus a twist in the third act. Meanwhile, you sit there wondering if you even had a dream at all. Is that a skill? A superpower? Are they just more spiritually connected than the rest of us? Not really. It is mostly timing and waking habits. Here is the secret: the window to remember dreams is incredibly short. We are talking seconds to minutes after waking up. In that window, if your brain gets the right conditions, it can snatch some of that dream content and drag it into conscious, waking memory before it completely vanishes. But if you instantly check your phone, stand up, start stressing over your schedule, or get blasted by a loud alarm, that window slammed shut instantly. The act of shifting your focus to the real world is enough to wipe the canvas clean. Folks who actually recall their dreams tend to do something pretty clever. They wake up very slowly and lie perfectly still. They don't rush to check their distractions. They give their brain a few quiet moments to hold on to whatever dream world is still lingering. Then, while hovering in that cozy, half-awake state, they gently trace back the fading pieces. It's just like trying to find where you left your keys. If you panic and search everywhere wildly, you're probably not going to find them. But if you pause and walk your steps backward, they appear. The dream is just like a sand castle, right? On the shoreline, you have a tiny window to look at it before a wave washes it away. If you're staring at phone notifications, you're totally missing that sand castle. Your sleep cycles also play a massive role here. The amount of REM sleep you get, and when you get it, has a massive impact on your memory. Remember when we mentioned those REM stages getting longer toward the morning? Well, that means if you sleep 7 or 8 hours, your final REM cycle is the longest, most intense, dream-packed phase. And since that happens right before waking up, it's easily the most likely to linger in your head when you finally open your eyes. But this is where modern life completely ruins things for us. Most of us are chronically exhausted, and when you're running on empty, you cut your sleep short, which means you are missing out on those long, late-night REM periods that create the most vivid dreams. So, if you rarely recall your dreams, the most boring, yet incredibly real explanation is just that you need more rest. You're waking up too early right before the deeper REM stages finally kick in. Your dreams aren't actually being erased, rather they're simply not happening properly in the first place. Your mind is trying its best to fire up the dream engine, but you're turning off the lights before the show even gets going. Now, alcohol plays a fascinating, yet totally destructive role in this. If you've ever had some drinks before bed and noticed that you slept really deeply but woke up feeling like you never even dreamed, well, that's because you didn't, not really. Drinking suppresses REM cycles pretty aggressively, especially during the first half of the night. As the alcohol wears off and clears out, there's a REM rebound during the second half, but by then, the timing is ruined, the quality is shattered, and your brain is already busy with the exhausting work of clearing out everything you drank. The result is sleep that feels heavy but is actually low quality, with almost none of those vivid dreams that define healthy sleep. This explains why I never dream is something you'll hear all the time from people who drink regularly before sleeping. Surprisingly, when people quit drinking, they often face a flood of incredibly vivid, intense, and sometimes downright scary dreams. That is REM rebound, the brain basically catching up on all the dream sleep it was blocked from getting. These dreams get so bizarre and intense that they catch people completely off guard. Your mind had a massive backlog of shows, and suddenly it gets the chance to broadcast them all at once. Let's pivot to something you and I might wonder about but rarely voice out loud. Do blind people dream? Do those who have been blind since birth see visual dreams? Well, the real answer is absolutely wild. If you were born with sight but later lost it, they still actually dream in pictures, at least for a while. Over time, those vivid dream images might start to fade, but even years after losing their sight, those pictures can still pop up. But what about people blind from birth? They do not see in their sleep, at least not the way you and I do. Instead, their brains build dreams from all their other senses: sound, touch, smell, even mental maps. They dream in the exact sensory language they use every day to live in the world. That tells us something pretty wild about dreaming. They're not some magic gateway to a universal imagination. No, they're made from the exact sensory tools your brain uses while you're wide awake. They're totally customized. They're basically made from you. Your brain's not playing movies. It's just remixing your whole sensory adventure of being alive. Now, tell me, can you actually train your brain to remember those dreams? Absolutely, but with a few catch points. The absolute best trick is keeping a dream journal. The setup is incredibly simple. Just keep a notebook or your phone right next to your pillow, and the very second your eyes open, before you stretch, before you check your notifications, you start capturing whatever weird little details you can remember, even if it's just a single image, a feeling, or one word. Speak it out or scribble it down instantly. Doing this over time is honestly mind-blowing. It creates a solid habit loop. You start waking up and instantly shifting into dream recall instead of immediately jumping into real life. The more you practice, the better you get at catching those fuzzy pieces before they evaporate. Your brain basically learns that this memory is worth saving. Many folks notice massive improvements in their dream recall within just 2 weeks of regular dream journaling. The second method is tweaking your morning alarm, specifically choosing a softer, more gradual sound instead of those loud, aggressive buzzers. Waking up abruptly triggers a sudden stress response that essentially carpet bombs any lingering dream memories still. Floating around, a softer alarm gives you a much smoother bridge between sleep and waking up, which protects that window. Ever tried setting multiple alarms? Set a soft one 30 minutes before your actual wake time, followed by a louder one, waking up briefly in the middle of that final REM cycle, staying perfectly still, then drifting right back. Too light sleep can easily trigger incredibly vivid dream recall when the final alarm goes off. The third step is honestly just getting more sleep. As boring as that advice might sound, getting a full 8 hours means you are not cutting off those deep, late-stage REM sleep cycles, and that is where the most colorful, vivid, and memorable dreams happen. Have you heard of lucid dreaming? We would be totally wrong to ignore it because it is the ultimate extreme of dream recall. Lucid dreaming is the rare state of knowing that you are dreaming while you are still fast asleep. In this state, many dreamers can actually control parts of the dream, change the storyline, and remember the whole experience with crystal clear details afterward. Around -15% of folks report having at least one lucid dream in their lives. A smaller group, about 23%, experience them quite regularly. The brain activity during these lucid dreams is absolutely mind-blowing. Brain scans of these dreamers show heightened activity in the prefrontal cortex. That's the region normally shut down during REM sleep. The self-aware part wakes up while your body stays asleep. Think of that rational boss we talked about sneaking back into the theater mid-show and whispering, "Wait, this is a dream now." Inducing these dreams is a rabbit hole we won't fully tumble down right now, but things like reality testing, mild and wild techniques. These are actual tools people use to try and boost their dream success rate. Of course, results vary since the brain isn't great at doing what it's told. So let's step back and look at the bigger picture. Honestly, there's something pretty beautiful in all of this. Every single night, your brain builds a whole new world, full of feelings, people, and wild sensations, all made from your memories, your fears, your hopes, your deepest anxieties, and probably some totally random noise that means nothing. It does this in a chemical state tailor-made to boost your wildest creativity while silencing all logical judgment. Then, most of the time, it just sweeps away the evidence. Why? We still aren't totally sure. The best guess is that forgetting dreams isn't a glitch, it's a feature. The brain sorts information, digests emotions, connects those complex patterns, and then throws away the details. You don't need to remember every practice drill, you just need the experience. But the fact that we occasionally catch tiny glimpses, those vivid, broken pieces, the emotional waves, the weird pictures, fading away as the story vanishes. Fade-outs might just be system glitches, little imperfections where a few frames somehow survive the cut. Maybe that's enough, because the whole mystery of why you can't recall your dreams actually, in a way, answers itself. You can't recall them for the exact same reason the whole process works. Your brilliant brain knows exactly what it's doing, even if it feels too you like total, absolute chaos. You're just not invited to that executive meeting. So next time you wake up and feel that crazy, maddening feeling of something just beyond reach, that dream you almost grabbed onto, that world that felt so real a second ago, remember this: your brain built that every night. It designs entire worlds for you, runs them, learns from them, and then cleans it all up when morning comes. The forgetting isn't some failure, it's just the brain working exactly as it's designed to, which doesn't make it any less frustrating, obviously, but hey, at least you know why. Tell me in the comments, do you recall your dreams regularly, or do you wake up to a total blank every morning? I'm really curious if The dreamers or the forgetters are in the majority here. See you in the next video.